Hey, what is up, everyone? So yeah, Godpacks. These are all clips from the recent live stream from yesterday with A Drive pulling some boosters and all that, and just a bunch of clips of news and stuff that he dropped during that live stream. So we're just gonna jump into it, discuss, and go from there. So let's just jump right back into that clip.
By the way, I haven't talked much about this, but there are God packs in Elestrals. Just so you know. Not many! Not many. There's 10 God packs total. That's it.
All right, so 10 God packs total. What are the God packs? We don't know. If they're going off other games' God packs, maybe it's gonna be like 10 full arts, which potentially maybe it's all the full art gods, all the full art 3-drops. No idea. Literally no idea. It's just what could they be? But that means that there's not only are we gonna have 10 Stellar Panteras and Stellars, there's also God packs that might have a bunch of full arts or some other special. Maybe there's a God pack with all Stellars. Who knows? Interesting stuff. Let's move on to the next clip.
It's one of those things I didn't realize it either. I had worked on a few things. Like, I'll just show you. I don't think it needs to be a secret. Let me see if I can find it real quick. I was working on, but I stopped because to do a sample of it was so expensive. And in my head, I'm like, I have no idea how I can even like break even on this idea. But so we actually modeled a like a golden chalice. And I was working on figuring out the feasibility of adding like a glowing element to it to glow in the parts that it's glowing. But either way, to just get a sample, dude, was like, it was crazy.
All right, so canceled product. The chalice does look pretty cool. It's, yeah, you also mentioned minifigures in the stream. Also not going to happen anytime soon because they're just so expensive, just making molten stuff. And he also touched on the dice. The dice are also very expensive, but because they made so many of them for all the starter decks, it was easier to justify spending money on dice that go in everything than these other projects that are just going to cost a lot of money and probably not make any money back. It's a shame because that chalice does look really cool, but maybe we'll get something in the future.
There's 3 unseen Stellars. There's 3 Stellars that no one in public's ever seen before. They're not on the website. I didn't tell any about them. I added them in right before print was set to go.
Right, so 3 unseen Stellars. That's pretty cool. So that raises our stellar count. I'm not even sure. I forgot to double check the number before I decided to clip all these. But extra Stellars means more chances of actually pulling a Stellar. I don't think that's going to change the pull rate of about 1 per case, knowing there's 3 more Stellars. That's 270 cards. That's not going to change odds much, but hey, it is increased odds, and there's other cool stuff that someone might pop out, and there's still hidden stuff to find out in the Kickstarter release, which I think is super fun. Personally, I would like to see a Stellar Leonite. I would like to see a Stellar Aphros, and I'd like to see maybe a Stellar Rune. That would be pretty cool. Like, what if we got like a Stellar Shield or something that's, I don't know, just something different, interesting. Like, I know Stellar is supposed to be Elestrals, but it'd be cool to see Stellars that aren't just Elestrals, or maybe like Stellar Ambrosia to go with the Stellar Jataya. I think that would be fun, just a yellow dragon fruit. But we'll see what comes up.
A lot of thunder in that pack, yes. So that's one thing I will say. The randomization of the like the cards in the packs outside of the hollow and the rare slot is not as optimal as I would like to be. But I will tell you that that's already something that's going to be addressed for the next print run. So you'll sometimes see the same elements and stuff like bunched together a little bit, but that doesn't affect like the rarity stuff, and in some ways it's convenient when you're sorting cards, but that will be fixed in the next set. There's 2 ways we're gonna fix it.
All right, Coalition. This is pretty big and important. If you remember from the prototype booster boxes that were sent to some creators, the Coalition on these boxes, or meaning the orders of the cards in the box and the grouping of the cards, was pretty bad. Basically, every time you pulled 1 bear, you got all 3 bears. Every time you pulled a stadium, you got all stadiums. It's not as bad here. If you watched a couple box breaks on his Twitch, the Coalition's a lot better. It's still got some issues where there's still chunks of all one element. You know, he pulls multiple duplicates of the foiled stuff. So Alto Stars in this video, he pulled 2 when he did the other box break. He pulled 3 Cracking and 3 Aphros. When he did another few packs with Steve, it was like 3 Leonites. So there's a little bit of Coalition issues there. That's not necessarily a bad thing. It means you're probably getting playsets pretty easily of certain cards. It also kind of puts a little bit of a note here of, although we have 3 rarities, or 4 rarities with stellar: common, uncommon, rare, stellar rare, there's kind of an in-between rare and stellar where the foiled cards, or the hollow foils, are their own rarity in a sense, so you're only going to see those about half as much as the other rares. But in the first edition print, some of the hollows are going to be swapped, Dan said in this video, so although there's going to be hollows of certain cards that might be a little bit rare to get now, maybe in the next, in first edition, they'll be back down to normal, and the hollows will then be different rares. That potentially means there's a little bit of a rarity shift going on between Kickstarter and first edition, but nothing I think that's super relevant. And again, the collation, it's a little frustrating, but there are some pros to it. It's easier to sort. It means that you're getting playsets a little bit easier of some stuff, but it also might mean that you miss some cards that you need. I guess you have to go to second markets and trade for those.
Music of Elestrals will be available soon. Over the next couple weeks, we're going to release a big press kit that's going to allow you to get all the music, all the, like, a ton of art, tons of stuff, rule guide. We're going to basically release this huge package of information for content creators, for fans. Anyone can grab it. We're going to make your life a lot easier when it comes to content creation around Elestrals, and just give people as much as we can.
All right, that's great for me. But I think a company that really started with a content creator knows the value of the content creators in the space of promoting projects and stuff and advertising. So it's really nice to know that we'll have access to that, as any content creator will. As well as you, if you like the music and they drop all the music in a content pack, there's some free music basically for you, right? So I think even though it's a content creator focused idea, it's beneficial for a lot of people. If you want to do art, you want to just make yourself a little background or something for your phone, you want to just listen to the Elestrals music, which is phenomenal. They have it on the alpha version of the app, and it's really, really good. Shout out to Tailwinds. Yeah, so that's great for everybody, not just content creators. Free content, free music, pretty cool.
Yes, Bearcat, TGA, or the Grading Authority, is already grading Elestrals, and I've had interest from other grading companies. I just have to send them the documentation, and I haven't done that yet, so we're working on it. Thank you, Skylar.
All right, grading. Big one for a lot of collectors. So TGA currently does grade Elestrals from the prototypes all the way to prototype starters, and I would assume for Kickstarter's edition, if anyone has that. I don't think anybody besides Zan and a few people do. But TGA is grading your cards, as well as other companies looking out to potentially grade cards as well. Who those companies are, I don't know, but there's definitely a lot of interest, being that it's, I think, the second largest TCG Kickstarter, that there's probably going to be grading companies wanting to get in on that. So we'll see who partners up. He's mentioned this before, but I think more grading companies will really help kind of enhance the authenticity of the game and the space to collectors and players alike.
Oh, thank you so much, Parker. I do name a lot of them. Our local game stores allowed to run tournaments. Yeah, so Watermelon, what we're doing, I actually just had a call about this yesterday with my team. One of the things we're actually working on right now is the documentation. To do 2 different sets of documentation. One is to train new judges. We currently have 2 judges that are compensated, like paid every month. We have 2 judges, so we're gonna get the training documents together so we can add more judges, right? Volunteer and paid, right? And then the next thing we're working on is like a player's code of conduct. So that way, when events are run, you can have rules that basically say, hey, do this, don't do that, that kind of stuff.
All right, and that last clip, tournament information, a little bit. Nothing really solid there, but judge training materials is always great. You're going to need people who have to ask questions. In the prototype deck tournament that they officially ran, I judged as a, just, I guess, a lower judge, level 1-ish, I guess, to help a lot of new players out who were playing that tournament. And if you're wondering, you can only use Zeus on your turn during your main phase once per turn. I got asked that question 3 times. There was only 4 Thunder decks in the tournament. Everyone asked that question. But no, more judge materials, training materials is great, especially with some rules changes that happened over the course of the past like 7-8 months of the game being kind of play tested and moved around and figured out. Having proper like judge education materials is going to be really nice for learning the game for players, and also for people who want to take that step into judge territory, understanding how to judge and go to events and make rulings, etc. I think having that material would be really nice. And then just code of conduct stuff. That's pretty standard at this point. You probably remember a couple controversies of the past couple years with some TCGs and code of conduct, and one guy got booted out of like a Pokemon TCG thing for a misunderstanding. So as long as it's written well and clear, it's kind of up to tournament, runners to generally follow those rules. If they're going to be strict rules to follow, that they're not going to get prize support or something if they don't follow them, who knows? That's up to Elestrals team, but it'd be nice to have all that down written in stone. So with all that, this is the end of the video. I just wanted to highlight some clips from that Twitch stream, just some really important, really cool information that a lot of people probably missed. So and I hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Talk to you later. Peace.